So for the last main topic, we're gonna go ahead and kick it to our senior transgender sports analyst.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's what you are.
No. Don't set me up like that. Don't bring me in like that.
Nasty. I wouldn't even do this segment, dog. That is nasty.
Yeah. Don't even set me up like that.
You
He called me the senior transgender analyst. Anyways,
I had to give you the title, bro.
It's time to suck you the bag. It's happening. Oh, suck you the bag. It's happening. It's time to suck you the bag. It's happening. It's time to suck.
Joe Biden signed an executive order last week regarding transgender athletes, and basically makes it acceptable for like state university to give scholarships to athletes to play in the sports that they identify in, as opposed to ones that they were assigned at birth. And so I think we talked about this a couple times before with trans athletes in sports. Much more important to me than just staying on the superficial part of this argument, which is, we don't want to exclude people. I really honestly believe that that's not that it shouldn't be considered, but it's the less important of the factors. Because another thing at play here is women's sports in general, right? So where does this leave women's sports? Because what I've seen in the language is, if you're leaving it open to anyone's interpretation on what they identify as, then just to me, I'm just again, it seems as though that's pretty easily cheated. And now you're offering state scholarships. You're offering scholarships to state schools to people who identify as whatever. Right? So physically, men and women have been separated in sports, right?
Right.
So if we're saying that there's no difference with trans athletes physically, biologically, then what is the need for men's and women's sports anymore? I guess. What is the need to have women separated from men in sports? I guess that's another thing that kind of keeps flashing to me when I talk about this. Is like, well, then what's the point of separating men and women at all? If you're saying it's okay for someone who's been biologically male, let's say for 15, 16 years of their life, and they choose to transition at that point. If you're telling me that 15 or 16-year-old trans woman has no physical advantages over her would-be female counterparts in sports, I don't think that's true. I don't believe that. It may not be a blanket. Yeah, it may not be a blanket statement. It may not be true for everybody, but I'm willing to bet a significant amount of money that if we ran the numbers, you really don't have to. It's somebody who was growing up male for a large percentage of their life and only recently started transitioning. Another thing I think it could kind of encourage is people to start transitioning earlier, right? Like if I'm going to be this college athlete, if I'm going to be doing this, and now if I'm not, at the gender that I'm supposed to be,
let me switch it up to increase my chances of getting a scholarship or having an advantage in the Olympic trials. It just leaves the
people don't understand like what a dark business college athletics really is. Like the things that people do to get these scholarships, to get chances to play sports professionally.
Bro, stay qualified though. Not even that, not say get them, but to stay there.
Like I know this may be like a far out thought or who would do that kind of thing, but it's like this is just me. So you're saying that you can play collegiate sports in the gender that you identify, right? To not exclude transgender people. Okay, cool. What is to stop me? Let's say if I'm a subpar athlete as a man in basketball, and I realized in my sophomore year that playing college athletics is not in the cards for me. What's to stop me from exploiting this new executive order and just saying I identify as female and outcompete a girl for a scholarship spot? And this isn't even talking directly to competitiveness right now with transgender athletes. We'll table that for a second. Let's just talk about people skirting the rules to get there. It's a pretty open, and again, I haven't read all the language in the executive order, so I could be missing something. But if you're just saying it's based off of what you identify, full stop, how are you not opening a door to people cheating it and ultimately destroying women's athletics? They're already at a disadvantage popularity-wise, money-wise. They're at a disadvantage physically because there are things that they just can't do that the men could do. So introducing this doesn't strengthen women's athletics to me.
Yeah, it's almost like a kick in their face.
My question is, if you don't, okay, so the executive order basically says that it starts when you make the decision, whatever you identify as, correct?
I believe so, I guess. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the exact language of
what do you
was written in the
propose
bill.
would be the better option? When they actually go through, or like, I don't know.
See, I mean, some of this is just kind of hard to really deal with, right? Because I hear out a lot of progressive circles, they say like, oh, well, you know what? The left like science. They deal with science, and we deal with the facts, and we use that for our arguments. But when it comes to this particular topic, it couldn't be more non-scientifical when we're trying to weigh these things. So I don't understand how we abandon logic at this point.
Should this not be what you need the science for? That you have all these professionals who run the numbers and the stats, the biometrics, and all of that. Shouldn't this be when you do that? Okay, bet you identify as this. We're gonna do a physical now, and put you on this scale and see where you fall at in that ranking. Depending on where you fall at, is where you'll be placed.
In order to compete in the female category, transgender female athletes must declare that their gender is female for a minimum of 4 years and must monitor their testosterone level below 10 nmoles per liter for at least 12 months prior to their first competition and below 10 nanomoles per liter throughout the period of desired eligibility to compete in the female category. Now, this is for the International Olympic Committee, so this is for just Olympic athletes, but there are similar types of things that go on at really any sports level. And the point of that is that for a transgender woman who maybe spent a large portion of her life as a biological male, they would have a lot of testosterone in their body, so they would have been able to, gain a lot more muscle mass. Some transgender females might have wider shoulders, which allow them to put on more muscle mass as well. So the point of all of this is to say that it's not just a freewheeling world where people are just transgender people are just jumping into the sports and being like, yeah, I'm going to go dominate everything. That's not exactly how it works. And this is the narrative that the right wants you to believe, that they are making a more fundamental argument.
I think something like that is fair. And then I don't want to turn people, it's like I don't want to turn this into like means testing for public assistance programs. That's not fair. But also at the same time, we have to be able to differentiate somebody who has much more muscle mass or has 2% body fat versus somebody who has next to no muscle mass and they're 15-20% body fat.
You're taking
like
food, because now you're taking food off of this. I'm just thinking like of a girl, right? Mm-hmm. who was grow up, her mom and her dad been training her to be this track athlete since she was freaking 4, busting her ass. You know what I'm saying? For all these years, up until she was 18, 19, ready to get the scholarship. and she loses it to somebody who just made this transition within the last 3 or 2 years of their high school career, getting ready for college, because they realize that now, oh, I got an advantage now. Let me go ahead and switch sides to get the scholarship money because I can't afford it. Fuck all the work you just put in for the last 18 years. I decided to change in these last 2, so what's up?
I got something for you. So the record holder in the women's 400 meter, her name is something Felix. I think it's like Alexa Felix. Alexa Felix, right?
Yep, love Alexa Felix. Yep.
So she has more medals. I think she's won more medals or more gold medals than Usain Bolt. Fastest U.S. sprinter there is right now, right? Her record time is a 49.66 in the women's 400 meter dash. There are currently today over 300 high school boys that can beat that time. Now listen. I'm not telling you I can walk my ass out there and beat Felix in a race. I'm not telling you that 90% of the men walking around here today can beat Allison Felix in a race. What I'm telling you is that should tell you that the top end attributes of a male athlete are not comparable to the top end attributes of a female. Serena Williams will tell you as much as that. Probably the best female athlete we have ever seen any sport, bar sport, or any sport.
Hell, we'll ever see.
She will even tell you there's no way I will play with a man. There's no way. It's a different game. They hit the ball faster. They're stronger. Like it's a completely different game. And I don't think Maya Moore or even Brittany. Well, Brittany Griner might fuck around and think she can play, but I don't think Brandon. I don't think they would come and tell you like, yeah, no, we think we could play with NBA players. I don't think they would tell you that. So it's got to be a better way we can do this. It's got to be a better way than just saying full stop whatever you identify in. It's too vague, number one. And if we're leaving state funding for scholarships open to somebody's interpretation, right? It's one thing to say we're not admitting them or we're not letting them play at all. And it's not what I'm suggesting at all. Like, I'm just saying there's two extremes here, and it seems like that's one of the ends of the extremes to me.
Yeah, I've been obviously fairly quiet on this whole topic this whole time, just because I just feel like there's maybe intricacies or something that we don't understand, really privy to. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to say too much without knowing everything, but it's interesting. It does raise a couple questions as to what may need to happen in the future.
For sure. Like, and again, none of these, I don't think anything we said have been blanket statements for either side, for trans athletes or the people, trying to legislate this. But it's just like, I feel like it's somewhat undeniable to say that there is a very realistic situation where there is a trans female or trans female who is just physically superior to her counterparts. That's very real. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to be like that. That doesn't mean that a lot of them are going to be like that. But if there's one person who can dominate a sport for that reason alone, is that fair? Is all I'm saying. If LeBron decided that he wanted to transition and be a woman, there's no way in hell they would ever let. Well, excuse me. Let me not take an already pro. If Sharif O'Neal decided to be a woman, if he decided he needed to transition and decided to play professional basketball, I don't think they would let him play in the NBA.
I agree.
I don't think so. So I don't know. We'll see. And again, a lot of this is look and see. We've never had these situations. I think things like this have been a little bit more prevalent in like track and field, surprisingly MMA, but never like in things like basketball or football. Obviously not. So it's going to be an interesting thing. We'll see. We'll definitely see.
And those statements alone with those last couple of sports alone can start a whole nother topic that will. I'll be quiet until more is revealed.
Well, how do you?
Any...
How do you stop it then? Because now there will be women playing college football, and so then now the NFL's got a whole other issue. Is the NFL going to draft its first woman into the NFL? I mean, it's just that's where the natural the first trans woman into the NFL is what it would be. So I mean, these are realistic
trans
things.
Women into the NFL, then I would think you would have to start allowing women in the NFL.
And that's my point. That's my point. So there, I don't think there's an end unless we kind of start to reasonably parse through these things on a situation per situation basis.
Mm-hmm.
The reasonable conclusion of that ends up in the destroying of women's sports. There's no need to have co-ed sports if you're telling me it doesn't matter. If you're telling me physical advantages of men versus women doesn't matter anymore, then there's no really reason for co-ed sports. If that's what we're saying full stop, then that's new to me. You know what I mean? I guess I got to get with it, but I don't think that's going to parse well for a lot of the women. I don't think that's fair. The thing that Title IX was put in place for was to give women a place to compete equally on an equal footing. Yeah. Right? That's what Title IX was, to give them an opportunity to play their sports for scholarships at a competitive level, on a comparable level, competitive level, not this. I don't know. It just seems like ultra woke on the side of Joe Biden. And it's funny because I haven't really heard. I do like the executive order he did on, you know, the prisons reform, no more private prisons, no more contracting of private prisons. So that was dope. But you know, I haven't heard a whole lot on the $2,000 checks. I haven't heard a whole lot on anything regarding policing or reparations or anything like that. So
hasn't hit any heavy hitters yet.
You know, I'm just saying if we're going for big sweeping changes of protected classes, I would like to see something maybe for the community that got you voted into the White House. But I mean, you know, I was never a guy that said that Joe Biden was going to come in and do anything. So I guess I better be happy for the little that we got, huh?
Thanks for watching another Back of the Bus Squad episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Want to check out another episode related to this, go ahead and click that video to the left.
And if you want to catch up on some of our other episodes, make sure you click the playlist below.